What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode here of the Side Guys Football Forum. I'm one of your co-hosts, I'm on the side, joined as always by my good friend, my good buddy, the other half of the Side Guys, with Tad the side. And Tad, a couple days after it, Combine has come and gone. What are your just overall thoughts from it? Like, did you watch a lot of it? Did you just sort of skip past it? I mean, yeah.
I actually have a great story about this. So
Great.
So this past weekend, I was at home with my mom. And I try to watch as much as I could, like in between doing stuff.
Yeah.
And it was I forget the name of the drill, but it was the drill where, the either defensive backs or the receivers run down the yard line,
mm-hmm.
the gauntlet. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom looked at me and was like, "What's the point of this?" I was just like, you know what? That's a very good question. Because it was while we were watching, it was the defensive backs. So she was like, what do they care if they catch it or not? I was like, that's a very good question. I don't have an answer to that.
So I know the big thing with the defensive backs, I can sort of see a little bit more of a warranted as to why they go through the
receivers. Absolutely makes sense.
They have to go through it.
Yeah. The defensive backs was just like, yeah, they drop it. It's like, well, yeah. I mean, it's that little coach's joke. Is like, well, that's why you're a DB.
I think it's just you're testing, because not only are they testing your hands for receivers or defensive warriors, but they're trying to see your top speed as you're going down the line too. So it's like, how committed are you going through that drill? Are you trying to whether it's defensive back or whether it's receiver, are you trying to pace yourself so you can make sure you can catch the ball each time? Or are you just running the drill full on and just wherever the ball is, you're making adjustments to catch the ball? So that's the other thing that they're watching with the gauntlet. So I think for defensive backs, I think they're trying to see just how committed are you as far as your straight line speed. And it's like, if you catch it, great. But if you don't, that's like, we're trying to see your commitment to the drill. That's what they're trying to see.
I will say this, no one pulled a Taron Johnson, and I'm very upset about that.
People have learned. I think
that's head on a swivel, baby.
But I will say that defensive backs only go through the gauntlet once. So they go through the gauntlet once, but receivers do it both ways or whatever.
Also, another combine highlight. I don't know if you saw this or not. Did you see the I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, but the Missouri offensive lineman, his 40?
I didn't. I don't watch the 40.
It's all right. I'll send it to you. The Missouri offensive lineman, who, by the way, I just saw mock to the Colts, which please do not do that. He hit the 20-yard line during the 40-yard dash and then just started screaming.
Oh,
yeah. I'll send it to you. And you know what? We'll retweet it from the show account because we did that with the Taron Johnson thing last week. It is hilarious because it was just like, oh, okay, this is solid. It's like, oh my God. So relax, man.
Because there's a lot of guys that scream stuff after they finish.
Exactly. He did it mid 40. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that as soon as they finish, they're they either, scream or they yell an expletive that gets bleeped out or whatever,
that's
right? But
great.
just after they finish it or whatever, that's what they do. But yeah, I've never seen it midway. I think that's interesting for sure. But yeah, I mean, we're talking about the combine here, Tad. I mean, this is a great transition point to sort of get into the episode. Let's talk about our combine winners and losers, who raised their stock, who unfortunately hurt their stock with the combine performance now. Combine performance is not an end-all, be-all for these prospects, just because you had bad combine or you didn't even participate, like your Shedeur Sanders and your Abdul Carters and your Mason Grahams. It's that doesn't mean this is absolutely going to tank your stock. This is a lot of people just invest more to the pro day, but you look at the pro day, we talked about this before, Dad. Pro day is a lot more structured to sort of make the prospects
look
good.
Is the definition of a dog and pony show. That is what a pro day is.
Yeah, it is a lot of a glorified walkthrough session. They get more structured. They can sort of make themselves look good with whatever they're sort of running there. But yeah, that is what it is. So yeah, this is not an end all be all. Like I said, as far as if you did great, this is shoot this guy up into the first round or whatever. It's but if you do bad, that doesn't drop you until day 3 or anything like that either. But this is just overall, just with the way that the weekend is sort of structured, just like, who was able to like go through the drills well, who ran well, all those things, just like go through this simulated environment and sort of come out looking a lot better. That's also a good sort of sense as far as like, especially Tab, when you have games like on Thursday and you just played on a Sunday, it's like good. Who has that turnaround time that's like on a short time span? They can come in and they can perform really well. So I bet you a lot of people look at it that way too, where it's like, they're waking up these guys at like, 5, 6 a.m. They run them all day doing all these drills, their stamina and all that stuff too. So it's like you see a lot of things with the combine that I think a lot of people don't take into account with the weekend there. So let's start with the winners, Dad. Who are guys that, we liked as far as like, help their stock, maybe put themselves on the map as far as like, now let's look at their pro day to see how much more they can increase their stock sort of thing. But just, who is a combine winner for you after the weekend?
I mean, we got to do it like this. I mean, just who ran the fastest 40? Maxwell Hairston, to answer your question. He is a defensive back out of Kentucky. Now, This is why, and look, we poo-poo over the combine a lot on this podcast, justifiably so. But this is where the combine, this is why it's a thing, is because, look, I am to, give our viewers and listeners a little background info. I have the defensive side of this year's draft. So I need to scout all the defensive players, which is, by the way, not going well. I'm very behind the 8 ball on that.
Yeah, you are.
But, and this may be evidence of that, I had not watched a single second of that. I had never even heard of this guy before the draft. But Maxwell Hairston, I think I'm saying that right, ran the fastest 40 of all the prospects, by the way. I almost picked this guy as a loser. Isaiah Bond. Woo!
Yeah, a lot of people unfortunately picked him.
Man, you bet big on yourself and you lost that big time. So what is the reverse Isaiah Bond? It's Maxwell Hairston.
He wasn't even the fastest Texas receiver because Golden had a faster time.
Golden had a great combine. I almost picked him for my winner, but Bond. Whoo, boy. Damn, wait.
Got to back up those bold claims. You got to back them up.
4.5, man. Like you're gonna say you're gonna break the record and then you run a 4. Like if you're gonna say you're gonna break the record and then run like a 4.4, okay, cool. I get it. Like some bad start or whatever, but 4.5.
Yeah. To not even be remotely close. It's like,
exactly. Like you weren't even in the ballpark. Man. Anyway, so Hairston ran a 4.29, which was the fastest of anyone. Not just defensive backs of any position at the combine. 4.29 was the fastest. So naturally, I was like, okay, let's watch some of his tape. I will say this. So he played primarily corner for Kentucky. I don't think that's where he's best suited for the NFL. Actually watching it. So he only had one pick last year. It was pick 6. Credit where it's due.
There you go.
It was a really cool play too. He also had 4 passes defended. So he's a pretty solid, secondary player. I think he's more suited for a safety. But again, this is the type of like that versatility where I could see him, sometimes playing a corner in the NFL. I don't want him there all the time, but he's a very good, like dynamic kind of player where you can rotate around in the secondary. I think that's really valuable. And so again, with this 4.29 40, now all of a sudden he's on everyone's radar. And much like me, everyone's like, oh, this kid. And they're starting to watch him. And he has some real safety potential, in my opinion. Watching him, and I'm going to do the typical me thing. You ready for this? What comparison do you think? All-time safety. All-time safety. What do you think I'm going to, or who do you think I'm going to compare him to?
Are you going to go Ed Reed?
I thought you were going to say that. It's not Ed Reed. It is Bob Sanders, though.
Oh. That was my second guess. I was like, you're probably going to go with the Colts there with Bob Sanders, but Hairston's bigger, I think, right? Because, Bob Sanders was naturally one of the smaller players that played in the league, but, you're still obviously so crazy with the skill level there, but just like, I think Hairston's a lot bigger, right?
He came in at like 6 foot, 6'1", like on that edge. So he's a little bit bigger, but like the way he plays is his coverage skills don't really like jump out at me, but his ball hawking skills and again the speed really jump out at me. So that's why I like him more as and it sounds kind of weird, but like I like him more as a safety because honestly the highlights, and again I don't watch highlights, I watch game tape, but like the plays that jumped out at me weren't so much him in pass coverage. It was those bubble screens. Oh my God. He was like behind the line of scrimmage before you could even like blink. So he's a really quick, really, twitchy type of secondary player. So that's why I don't really want that from a corner. From a corner, I want to see coverage skills. From a safety, dude, if you can get behind the scrimmage, like it's almost like Palomalu, right? Like jumping over the line. If you can show me that type of level of skill, which he has, I like it. So this is why he's my winner, is because Hairston went from a who gives a shit third day pick. I honestly would not be shocked if he was taken round 2.
Yeah, I remember watching him through the drills too. And you speak about the ball hockey skills. I remember there's a couple drills where I saw where it's like, they sort of do their back pedal, they switch, and then they go out on an angle
route. One of my favorite
deep.
drills. I love that drill.
And then the quarterback throws it. So then they're supposed to, if the throw is, on target, quote unquote, they're supposed to high point the ball and then they catch it and then they return it back or whatever. But one of the things I did see with Hairston is that he was high pointing the ball. Like, I mean, he had the great leaping ability and he did have the good hands too to catch it and then come back with it. So yeah, I could definitely see the ball hockey skills there for sure. Even the limited drills that they showed.
And sorry to interrupt, but I can't remember now. It was either Eastern or Western Kentucky. It was like some who gives a shit school, but that was exactly the drill where, just the quarterback absolutely sailed it. And it was hilarious because you could tell the tight end, I think it was Eastern Kentucky. They were wearing maroon. And the tight end just knew as soon as the quarterback threw, he was like, he's going to get this. And he high pointed the ball exactly like what you said, though, is that like, that's what I want from a safety. And that was kind of the highlight where I was like, I could see this guy as a safety. I can't see him as an NFL cornerback, but I absolutely could see him as a, if not rotational, definitely a starting NFL safety.
Nice. Yeah, I think I brought this up before, Tad, just going back to the combine. I wish you could see every participant do every drill. Like, I mean, I understand they had to make commercial breaks and all this stuff, but it's like they should then put that like on NFL.com or like have a replay or whatever. Because it's like, do you know who Joey Molinaro is?
Rings a bell, but if you put me on the spot, which you are, no.
He's like a comedian. He does like some impressions, and specifically like with NFL and athletes and stuff like that. So they had him on like in the booth to like do some of his impressions or whatever. But I was watching the running back drills, and it's like they're panning to the booth of him doing his impressions while the running backs are doing the drill. So I can't see the running backs do their drill. Yeah. And it's like, I have to watch this guy do his impressions. It's like, no, put that in a mini box and let me watch the drills.
And do it 2 and 2. Yeah, exactly.
You have the technology. We're getting the laser hawk or whatever the hell it's called instead of the chains anymore for first down, right? So it's like, you have the technology, put it in play here. So it's like, yeah, that's the thing that annoyed me the most for sure.
Dude, doing the well, God, I almost call him Bionicle. What is the Bionic Man? We have the technology.
$6 million man, not
Damn
Bionic.
it! Damn it!
Do you know what his name was?
Oh, I have no idea. I'd never even watched an episode.
Okay.
Gary.
No, it's not SpongeBob's pet snail. It's Steve Austin. No, Steve Austin. His name was Steve Austin.
Wait, his name was Steve Austin?
I swear to God, his name was Steve Austin.
Stone Cold.
Not Stone Cold Steve Austin, just Steve Austin. Oh, goodness gracious. But yeah, I very much like Hairston for sure. Like, I remember, like I said, watching him through the drills, he looked pretty smooth. You can see the speed. And then, the ball hawking. As soon as you said that, I was like, yeah, I definitely saw that with the drills that I was watching on field there. So, a guy that really killed it for me, and I remember I texted you about this as far as, his stock rising after the combine. We talked about this guy like during the preseason as being the number 1 overall pick, but just for some reason, we had a lot of other players that played really well, and so his stock sort of fell. But I think the combine sort of put himself back on the map, and that is James Pearce, the edge rusher out of the University of Tennessee.
That's a great pick.
We also talked about this when we did our combine preview episode, but Abdul Carter dealing with a shoulder injury. He didn't participate in any of the drills, but then also it was later revealed, like literally after we dropped our episode, it was a couple days later, that he was dealing with a foot fracture, I believe. So he was contemplating getting surgery, whether he was going to be able to perform at his pro day, but he's not going to get surgery. He's going to be fine by his pro day. and so he's going to be totally okay as the health medical checks. But just whatever, he wasn't participating at the pro day, at the combine. Excuse me, he's going to participate at the pro day. But yeah, in his place, James Pearce, like I said, I remember when we did our season preview for the college football season preview show, we talked about, I think we did a very initial mock draft where it's just like, yeah, James Pearce was like the consensus #1 overall pick. And you look at what he did at the combine, you could sort of see all the skills there. And I think he definitely shot himself up as far as his draft stock. He ran the fastest 40 time among all defensive linemen. He ran a 4.47. And Daniel Jeremiah, who's really broadcast for the group, he's like, it's an effortless 4.47. Like, it wasn't like you're sort of mentioning where it's like that guy was screaming midway through the 40.
I cannot
like,
wait to show you that video. It's so
But it's
funny.
like, yeah, this is just like, yeah, it looked really smooth. It looked like I said, Daniel Jeremiah said it was effortless. So it just looked really great. Going through the drills, though, it's like you saw a lot of that explosiveness. You saw a lot of that violent, hands as far as his placement there. He had great hand moves. Like, he was showing good spin moves. Like, I mean, just overall, you could see why this guy was being touted as a #1 overall pick. And like I said, with the drills that he did, I think he shot himself into the top 10. Now, obviously, we'll have to wait to see how the top 10 will play out with the quarterbacks in play and, offensive linemen, which I saw got some sort of, bad grades based on like measurement.
Will Campbell looks small, man. I was shocked at how.
So that's gonna be very interesting to see.
Every drill I watched with Will Campbell, I was like, "You're tackle, really?" Like, I knew he was undersized, but like true. And I don't know if you saw this, but NFL Network did that weird what's the word? I guess thing is the best thing I can come up with right now. Nice. But they had shut up. They had Joe Alt, Will Campbell, and Lane Johnson. Thank you. They had the simulcam, and like Alt and Lane Johnson were like at least 5 inches taller than Will Campbell. Now, to his credit, Will Campbell did beat Joe Alt in the 40. Yeah. Also, Lane Johnson, good Lord. Good God, the dude ran like a 4.6. But anyway, point being is, yes, no, I agree with you. It was like, yeah, the offensive lineman definitely, if you ask me to like pick a loser group, offensive lineman for sure.
Yeah, so there's a lot of questions surrounding there. So just like, I don't know how the top 10 is going to shake out, but it's just like very much based on this combine performance, especially if he could couple it with a solid pro day performance as well. James Pearce is very worthy of a top 10 pick, but Tad, I very much am holding out hope that he is there at 11 because the Niners stag him.
Of course you are, you son of a bitch. You guys are going to sign Joey Bosa. What the hell do you care?
If they release him. So yeah, if we don't address the pass rusher situation in free agency, if Pearce is there at 11, like, oh my God, that'd be so amazing.
Would you rather have Pearce or Walter Nolan?
Based on what I'm hearing about Walter Nolan that sort of surfaced is that his character issues are a little bit concerning.
I've heard the same. I saw the same reports.
But you sort of talk about this. The Niners met with both Nolan and Pearce during the combine. So they're doing their homework. They're doing their homework on the pass rushes there.
Who do you guys have defensive tackle right now?
We signed Javon Hargrave to that massive contract, but he's not performing all that well. But besides them, though, we don't have a lot of great depth there. So definitely defensive tackle is something we're going to address, if not early, some point in the draft or through free agency. But yeah, defensive tackle is a position we need to shore up.
Thank you for Buckner, by the way.
Yeah,
literally one of the only bright spots for the Colts right now. But no, I love Pearce as a winner here because exactly like what you laid out is, if you go back almost a year ago at this point, yeah, we were talking about him because we thought, all right, the Panthers were going to have the first overall pick. Did they give up on Bryce Young or do they go Pearce? It was funny because literally the week before the combine, I was reading a mock draft and I was like pounding my forehead being like, damn it. Because they had this mock draft, I think it was CBS, had James Pearce going to the Philadelphia Eagles at 32. I was like, don't let that happen. Like, they can't, it's the Aaron Paul thing. Like, they can't keep getting away with this. Because it was lack of production. I understand why his stock was falling. But I completely agree with you that he absolutely salvaged his draft stock this past weekend. And he is right back in their top 15. Now, I will tell you, the spot I'm really looking out for him is 8 and 9. Do you know who picks at 8 and 9?
One of them, I think, is Chicago, right?
No, Chicago's 10.
Chicago's 10. That's what it was. Yeah, I don't remember who's at 8 and 9 then.
It's the Saints and Panthers. That's a very, very interesting spot.
Panthers, I can see very much in play. Panthers, I can see very
and
much in
Saints
play.
too, because
Well,
I mean,
Saints very much in
yeah.
play too, but the Panthers had next to no passers because remember they traded
especially after
Brian
getting
Burns
Brian
to the
Burns.
Giants,
Yeah, exactly.
and it's just like, yeah, they have nobody now who can rush the quarterback. Whereas the Saints, they still have Cam Jordan. They have a couple pieces there.
Cam
but
Jordan hasn't eclipsed like 6 sacks in like 3 years.
I know that, but it's just like they still have quote unquote some pieces, right? They have other holes that they need to address too, right? So just like the Panthers, it's like their offense is sort of coming together based on what we saw from Bryce Young towards the end of the season. So it's like, yeah, I can very much see if Pearce is there, he could very much be in play for the Panthers. I 100% can agree with that.
So here's the interesting thing is a player I've seen a lot in those two spots is God, I hope I'm saying this right. Michael Williams or
Michael Williams out of Georgia, yeah.
Yeah, Michael, is that it? It's just I don't know if it's Michael or Michael or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's Michael.
Yeah, he spells it that funky way. But I've seen a lot, I've seen a lot of mock drafts having him mocked in one of those two spots. And now I think that James Pearce is going to replace that, as he should, because James Pearce is absolutely fucking amazing.
Yeah. He absolutely killed it.
I'm not gonna lie, like that's like the third option. I kind of want the Colts to land. Like if Tyler Warren's gone, if God, who else? I don't know. If yes, Cam Ward's gone. Oh, if Cam Ward was Colt. Hold on, let me live a second in the streamland. That's nice. That's nice. Okay, back to horrible reality. By the way, a report just leaked that the Colts are looking at Daniel Jones.
Are they? Yeah, that's the competition you want for Anthony Richardson.
Hate my life. Anyway, James Pearce is, absolute winner. In my mind, he's solidified himself as a top 15 pick. And honestly, it reminds me, speaking of the Colts, of Latu. Like Latu. Latu. I can do his last name. But that was the same thing of like, I knew of him. And then hearing about, because he didn't participate at the combine, but hearing about him at the combine, I was like, I wouldn't mind this guy. And now he's, probably the best Colts defender. Sorry, anymore. But yes, no, James Pearce is a great winner. Shedeur Sanders.
You really want Shedeur Sanders?
I can't be any worse than Richardson. Well, you're going to love this. So that same report that said we're targeting Daniel Jones also said Trey Lance is on their watch list.
Trey Lance. Oh, fun times. Fun times.
So much.
Let's do it. So, all right, let's sort of transition.
What's next, Mac Jones? I think
that's a good point to transition here. Let's look at the combine losers tab because there's a handful of guys here that unfortunately they just didn't have the best performances and just overall could see their draft stock dropping a little bit. Let's take a short up with a good pro day. But as mentioned, this is not a finite conclusion that just because they had a bad performance here, they're going to be terrible prospects. It's just other prospects, if they look better, they possibly may slide up the board compared to these guys sliding a little bit down there. So you can also look at it as a good thing. That's like, okay, these guys sort of underperformed. Maybe we can now grab them a lot lower instead of a lot higher paid with a premium pick there. So Tad, who do you have as a combine loser?
Buddy, I got you a twofer.
Okay, let's go.
Two for one special. Both quarterbacks.
Oh, both quarterbacks. Quarterbacks. Yeah, overall, I didn't get a chance because
quarterbacks.
I recorded the combines because I wanted to watch them all a little bit more with a finer tooth comb. And so I didn't get the chance to watch the quarterbacks yet. But I heard the overall performance was not too stellar.
It's bad.
As we're talking about combine losers. You talked about the offensive line being a potential position group having the worst day, but it's like I'm hearing the quarterbacks did not perform all that well either.
Well, I'm gonna guess the two you've heard of, and that these are my losers.
Yes,
is Quinn Ewers and Will Howard.
Yes, Will Howard has definitely taken the cake as far as having one of the worst performances.
So let's touch on.
People are saying in combine history, he's had one of the worst performances.
We're gonna touch on that for a second because
right.
we're gonna get into a journalistic rant here in a bit. But all right, let's touch on Ewers first because Ewers is my top loser of those two because as we discussed previously, there's still I guess some potential you could sneak in I guess maybe not the first round, but day 2 discussion. Yeah, all that talk should be dead at this point because my God. So Ewers went 16 for 22 throwing at the combine. Now, here's the thing though, it's 16 for 22. I know what people are saying. I was like, 16 completions. It's not that bad. It's not. 2 of those incompletions, and we'll probably tweet this out from the show account as well, were really bad. They missed them Ewers missed receivers terribly. Now, here's the thing though, is I've been seeing a lot of tweets and stuff being like, oh, Ewers had a great combine. Look at, these 16 completions. We talked about this in a previous episode. His footwork worried me a ton because if you watch how he threw at the combine, I would love to hear your reaction once you actually watch this tape.
Yeah.
Because I want to know if this is just me, like confirmation bias. Almost every throw he did, he's throwing off the front foot.
With the tape that I've seen, yes. Like I said, that's the biggest mistake, because we talked about it in our combine preview episode. Like, that's the one thing I wanted to see him work on, because that's the thing you can see with the drills that they do for quarterbacks. Like, you can see the footwork, you see them do their drop back, you can see how they're throwing with their throwing motion or whatever. So, like, yeah, a lot of it was just like all upper body. That's what I saw from Quinn.
Exactly. And that's what drove me nuts, is like every single throw he made, you could tell he was like leaning into it. And it seems, contradictory for those of you who don't know, but like you got to lean back. You got to rest on, you got to create the base to get a good throw. And this is, it was like chef's kiss, perfect example of what I've been saying for 2 years now. Because I always make the joke of he cost A.D. Mitchell like 300 yards in his final season in Texas. And there was a go route that technically counted as a completion because the receiver did catch it. But again, Ewers threw off his front foot. It floated. The receiver still caught it. It was a go route. But again, it was like he had to slow down to catch it. And in a game environment, not a great situation. So no, Ewers, everything I saw from him, I was like, nope, you're not it. And it was too funny. And I don't know if I'm doing this, for obvious reasons, but who he reminds me a lot of watching, because I watched this guy a lot. I was like, please, Colts, don't take him. And the goddamn Colts took him. Do you know who my comparison for Ewers is? I will be shocked if you get this.
No idea.
He reminds me so much of goddamn Sam Ehlinger.
I was thinking the Texas quarterback, and I just couldn't remember his name. So that's just like, Sam Ehlinger.
Because I remember watching Sam Ehlinger thinking the same thing of like, okay, I can see why people like him, but like there's a lot of work to do there. I was like, all right, it's fine, whatever. Then the Colts drafted him. I was like, God fucking damn it. So no, I think Ewers is just Sam Ehlinger 2.0 of like, hey, you can stick around as a backup. Now, Will Howard, let's talk about that. Because as you point, and this is kind of like the fake news thing I want to get into. So okay. You're correct, because Twitter's been blowing up of like Will Howard had like the worst combine performance of all time and blah blah blah. If you look up at NFL's Twitter account, they literally sent out a tweet like, Will Howard killed it at the combine.
Oh gosh.
And you can absolutely tell that's just like, oh, we don't want to scare people away from like not participating in the combine. So they're like, oh, Will, you're good. You're good. And so it's just too funny because if you look up Will Howard combine, you get one of two headlines. Either one, it's the worst combine ever, or two, he absolutely killed it. The answer is somewhere in between. He didn't do
gray
terribly.
Area. Okay.
Yeah, he didn't do terribly. He definitely missed some throws. But it was his opportunity to spring himself from a day 3 prospect into a potential round 2 prospect, and he missed it. He missed it. And I know everyone's
going to... That's the case for, I think, sorry to interject, but I think that's the case for all the quarterbacks at the combine, because both the, consensus
they had a chance to elevate themselves.
So it's like, this really is a chance to sort of separate that sort of murkiness as far as like who should be that third guy, or possibly leapfrog into that conversation of being the number 2 guy, right? So just like, but it seems like that didn't happen. So
no, it didn't.
I'm very curious to see once I watch it, just like how bad it was or how good it was or whatever it is.
And I can already hear what people are going to say. It was like, well, Shedeur Sanders came to his defense, which, okay, now Shedeur's decided to step up. But Shedeur's like, well, those are receivers that, he hasn't played with before. Now, that's fair. And I actually have an example to prove this. However, there's a difference between like, just not, the timing's not right to like, oh, no, that's just a bad throw. Yeah. And a lot of those were just bad throws. I don't care how unfamiliar you are with the receiver. If you miss him or if you throw behind him by about 2 or 3 yards, that's a bad throw, dude. That's not a receiver issue. That's a bad throw. And what I said before of like, I have an example. It was funny because I was having this debate with a friend last night, and he was just like, well, no one throws the combine anymore. I'm like, that's not true. He was like, name the last first round quarterback that threw. I was like, JJ McCarthy and Bo Nix both threw last year. And just to prove my point, because I had to make sure I was correct before I did that, I looked up JJ McCarthy's combine performance because I'm that kind of nerd. JJ missed quite a few throws.
Yeah.
He's still winning the first because his misses, that's the difference. Is his misses were clearly like, okay, like it was a curl route and like, all right, he came out of the break a little later, like, all right, fine. But Will Howard's misses were like, oh no, you're just not accurate. So Will Howard had the chance, especially as you said, with this volatile quarterback class, he had the chance to talk him or play himself into a second round conversation. It would not shock me if Will Howard was a 6th or 7th round pick at this point.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, because I mean, once again, just to sort of go back to our combine preview show, I mean, we talked a lot about good stuff there. You brought it up, especially when I talked about Quinn Ewers, like as being my guy that's like needs to have a good combine performance. Just that, even though you don't have the connection or the chemistry with all these receivers that are running routes for you, it's just like they just want to see, the scouts just want to see that's like semblance of the throwing mechanics. It's like, is the timing sort of there? Is it just a little bit off? Just exactly like I said, but it's like if you're way off, that tells me a lot more. It doesn't even matter who the receiver is. It's just like if you're completely off on a throw, or just like you're shorting a guy or overthrowing a guy, it's just like that is more telling. That's like, oh, okay, he threw it right in his hands. Maybe it wasn't exactly on his numbers. It's a little bit off. It's like, okay, those are things you can sort of work out a little bit. You know, view receivers, like you said, all that stuff. But just like if you are completely off, that tells me so much more. It's just like, you know what? This guy just, for some reason, cannot time it right to even get it in the vicinity of the guy. So,
and that's why I keep seeing people trying to defend Quinn Ewers, to go back to my, first loser.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, well, it's just 2 throws. Motherfucker, he hit a coach on the sideline.
Oh my Lord, did he?
Well, he was close, but but no, I'm not actually joking. Like, it hit the coach's feet. Like, it was really, really bad. And like that, again, that's the thing, because there was a throw. I can't remember if it was Howard or Ewers, but one of them, yeah, he missed a receiver by like a step on a go route. And I saw that, and I didn't blink an eye. I was like, okay. Like, that's the type of throw where it's like, all right, that's just chemistry there. But yeah, no, when you are like legitimately like the receiver's like diving to catch it and he still can't get it, it's like, no, that's your fault. Like, that's your fault. So no, Ewers and Howard. Whew, man, I'm gonna be fascinated to see where they go.
That's fair. That's very, very fair.
Ewers is back. Brock Purdy's backup.
Please no.
Who is your backup right
now? Should still be Josh. As of right now, it's still Josh Dobbs and Brendan Allen.
I mean, do you want to send? Well, I was gonna say Debo. Sorry, buddy. Do you want to send IU to the hospital? Because I mean, that's how you get IU to the hospital.
I believe it should see who they sort of get as a sort of backup, because I have a feeling they'll probably replace one of those guys.
Would not shock me, especially so you guys are in the backup for a backup though, because you need a little insurance policy in case Brock Purdy decides to go for the money.
We'll see. Ted, I'm going to touch on my loser, and you sort of brought up a twofer with yours. I'm going to give you a twofer, but not as far as 2 losers. It's sort of a combination of a winner and a loser. So the loser that I'm going to give you is free agent running back. So we have the free agency happening next week. Kind of. So we have free agency happening next week, Tad. So make sure you look out for our free agency preview episode that should be coming up pretty soon.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean, you look at the running back class from the draft this year. It's one of the more higher performing running back draft class. So I was able to watch that drills there because I had to get in preparation for our episode today. So I watched the drills there. That's part of the reason why I was sort of complaining. That's like I didn't get to watch everybody because they had to show these random dudes giving interviews, good impressions that actually weren't all that great.
Was Shane Gillis there? I feel like this may be a Mandela effect, but there was like some comedian in the booth that I saw.
David Spade was there, but it was during the 40s.
That was exactly.
It was during the 40s, so it's like I didn't really care about that. So it's like, but then they still, for some reason, they want to show everybody during the 40s. So that's why it's like you see, like I said, they did it. They literally did it. They had the booth with Daniel Jeremiah, David Spade, and Rich Eisen in the corner, and they had them running the 40s. So I was like, they literally just did it. But it's like, no. Now they want to show this guy full screen. It's just like, God.
You're going to love this, especially you. Is the 40-yard at the combine is essentially like that Simpsons meme with a Bart, like, say the line. He's like, run the 40. Like, show the 40-yard dash. That's exactly what it is.
No, that's I get it. People love speed, but just like, this doesn't tell me enough as far as
I love speed, but yeah.
But anyways, so talking about this running back draft class for the college the draft this year is just, like I said, lots of great talent. I'm not going to sit here and list out all the great talent that I saw for the draft class. Like, I mean, two guys I do want to highlight is Bashal Tootin out of Virginia Tech and Damian Martinez out of the University of Miami. Both those guys really raised their stock after the draft class, after the combine this weekend. But you look at the average 40, and I know we're just talking about like how we hate the 40, but it's like, this sort of speaks about just like what sort of talent you're seeing for the running back draft class. So the average 40-yard dash time for all the running backs this year, 4.48. This is the highest average that they have seen in the draft, in the combine specifically, since 2003. So you're getting a lot of good, talented running backs as far as speed is concerned, agility is concerned. So pretty much every running back that I saw went through the drills really smoothly as well. So it's like you're seeing a lot of great talent there. So, I mean, Ted, there's a good chance that with this running back draft class, like, I mean, I'm hoping I'm not overhyping this, but I really like this year's draft class as far as the running backs is concerned. There's a chance that you could get running backs on day 3 that could become eventual starters. Like, I could see that sort of talent with this year's draft class. So around 4, 5, possibly even 6 and 7, you can get some really quality running backs to at least be a part of your backfield, if not, like I said, become eventual starters. Because last time that we had 30 running backs taken in the draft overall was 2017. 30, yes. 2017.
Wait. I was going to guess like 2005.
No, 2017. So, but to go further than that, so if you go before 2017, last time we had 30 running backs taken, 1998. I very much like this year's draft class.
That track.
I very much like this year's draft class to get to that 30 mark. I think there's a lot of great talent in this year's draft class. But like I said, I'm talking about the free agent running backs as sort of being the losers here. There's some good names out there. I mean, we talked about this before. There's Aaron Jones, Javonte Williams, Raheem Mostert, Nick Chubb, Najee Harris. Like, I mean, the aspect of getting a good quality running back is there. I get the experience. I get under all of that. But if there's such good talent in the draft class this year, it's like, why not take the cheaper rookie contract with some of these running backs that can sort of exemplify the same skills that you're getting with some of these free agent running backs? And also, I think, like I said, this will vastly affect the market when it comes to next week when we open up free agency and there's all these running backs that are looking for potential offers. Based on the combine performance that we saw from all these running backs, I think this is really going to affect the market. Like I said, I have a feeling a lot of teams may be looking at it's like, well, I think we may want to go with the rookie contract. It's a lot cheaper for our salary cap situation compared to paying a lot of money for a running back. Because if you look at last year's free agency running back class 10.
I was just going to bring that up. Of like with this, and sorry if I'm going to like cut into your point here, but with the signings, I'm not going to call them busts necessarily, but with the, I guess in terms of running backs, big time signings of guys like Tony Pollard.
Tony Pollard, I don't have on my notes.
Okay,
here,
no, I was just nervous about the pronunciation. Is Pollard?
Yeah, it is Pollard.
What did I used to do? Pollard.
Pollard, yeah. For some reason, he did Pollard.
God damn it. But with Pollard and DeAndre Swift, I mean, both of them like did well for their teams, but like not enough to justify those signings. So I can definitely see like some like the market very much cooling on these running backs.
Yeah, because I mean, you got Saquon Barkley signed a 3-year deal for $37.75 million. Now he absolutely cashed it in because he just signed an extension.
He did
for 2 years and $41.2 million. So now
you get that bag, buddy.
So now he's the highest paid running back in the NFL, but he justified that, right? Josh Jacobs, he signed a 4-year deal for $48 million. And then, DeAndre Swift, he signed a 3-year deal for $24 million. So it's like, you see that average, per year sort of cost there for running backs. You got Barkley at sort of like that $12 million range. You got Josh Jacobs at that $12 million range as well. DeAndre Swift is at that $8 million range. I think DeAndre Swift may be the high point for a lot of the running backs that are hitting the free agency draft class, like $8 million per year. But even that is like pushing it toward the higher.
Yeah, I was about to say that's pushing it. Yeah,
I can see it dropping a little bit for your annual per year, possibly being at that $6 to $7 million range, maybe even shorter deals too. But just I very much like because out of the 45 potential free agents, Ted, that are on the draft class, potential free agents that are hitting the free agency this year, only 7 of them are younger than 26.
That's right.
If you're looking for more experience, because like I said, you want more experience because they played it, you've seen it there before. 12 of the 45 running backs are 29 or older. 5 of them are 30 or older. So it's like you got a lot of that high end. You got very little of the low end. You got a lot in the middle there. So it's really just what you're looking for there. But because of that, like I said, just how well the running backs performed at the combine, I think they'll have really good pro days as well. But just, this draft will have a high number of running backs taken. Like I said, I could very much see that 30 mark being hit in this year's draft for sure. And I think that's going to affect the free agent market.
And to, bolster your point is I almost picked this guy as a winner because I knew he was good, but, watching him at the combine, I watched a little bit more of his tape until I can actually like really get to him to scout Amarian Hampton.
Yeah,
That
he
dude
looked really good too.
fucking killed it. Like I was like it wouldn't shock me if he went late first at this point. And to your point, it's just that's what the running back position is. Now I have 2 fun games to play with you. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, so I looked it up. So you said it was what was it? The fastest? For some reason, I looked at the fastest 40 times from 03.
Okay.
I think you mentioned something about 2003.
Yeah, like I said, this is the highest average 40-yard time for the running back draft
Okay,
class since 2003.
That's what it was. All right. Do you want to guess who was the fastest guy at the 2003 NFL draft combine?
03, dear
If
Lord.
you get this, I'll be
I can't
shocked.
even dig that far. Was that like the McGahee year? So is that Willis McGahee? Like, was he in that draft class?
He ran a fast 30 or 40.
I don't know.
All right. So at first I misread it. I was like, Kevin Garnett was an NBA player. Is Kevin Garrett?
Kevin Garrett. I don't even know who that is.
A cornerback from SMU.
SMU. Okay.
Go Stanks. I think that's it. I don't know. I went to grad school there. I don't know. All right. So the other 4 you probably won't know. Tyrone Calico.
Idea.
Yeah,
I have no
wide
idea.
receiver at Middle Tennessee State. Number 3 was Bethel Johnson.
He sounds more familiar.
Wide receiver out of Texas A&M.
Okay.
Number 4 was BJ Tucker, cornerback out of Wisconsin.
Okay.
Number 5 was Dennis Weathersby.
I have no idea who that is either.
Cornerback out of Oregon State. And here's the
Looks
real
like
reason
got
why
a lot
I
of
brought this
corners
up.
there. Okay.
Do you want to guess who number 6 was? This is going to age us so badly. Number 6 was Andre Johnson. Wide receiver.
Andre Johnson out of
Miami.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
You're in a 4-4 flat. All right. Now
Andre
for our
Johnson.
second game. So like you said, the 2017 draft was the last time we saw 30 running backs go?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to guess who the first running back that went in that year's draft?
That was a Leonard Fournette year.
It was Leonard Fournette at number 4. Do you want to guess who the second one was?
Who was after Leonard Fournette? That's a good question.
He was better. I'll give you that.
He was better than Leonard Fournette?
He was better than much better than Leonard Fournette.
All
right. For our listeners and viewers, this just goes to show our chemistry. Is my favorite episode we've ever done.
Favorite episode we've ever done?
Breaking news halfway through the episode.
Is that the Christian McCaffrey year?
It was Christian McCaffrey at
Wow.
number 8. Now, here's where it gets wild. Do you want to guess who the third running back was? Minnesota Vikings second round.
Minnesota Vikings second round.
2017.
Is that Dalvin Cook?
It was Dalvin Cook. Very
Nice.
good.
Yeah.
All right. After that, the Cincinnati Bengals took Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon. Yep. Okay.
After that, the New Orleans Saints in the third round took Alvin Kamara.
Mm-hmm.
After that, the Kansas City Chiefs took, you want to guess?
It's not Jamal Charles, right? Jamal Charles was a lot earlier.
This is not Jamal. Yeah, Jamal Charles was like 5
Yeah,
years.
that was way earlier. Yeah, so I don't know why I was thinking that. Kareem Hunt?
Kareem Hunt, you are
Yeah.
correct. This one's going to be impressive. Do you want to guess who the Steelers took in the third round that year?
The third round.
The third round.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I have no idea.
James Conner.
Oh, yes. James Conner out of Pitt. Mm-hmm.
And this is the final one just because I've never heard of this guy, so I'll be impressed if you remember this. In the fourth round, your San Francisco 49ers did take a running back that year. What
Was that Marcus Lattimore?
It was not.
Was that Glenn Coffey?
Come on, Marcus Lattimore. I've heard of him.
I don't know. Maybe you forgot about it.
Also, Glenn Coffey. Thank you for serving, sir. But no, it was not him. Like I said, I've never heard of this guy before until I looked it up.
2017 in the 4th round?
The 4th round is the most, I will give you this as well, is the most fucking generic name you can think of.
God.
This just goes to show how bad he busted.
Yeah, I do not remember.
Do you remember Joe Williams?
I do remember Joe Williams out of Utah, right? Yeah, I remember they were talking about it. And then
good for you, because I don't.
No, I remember they were talking about it specifically because he ended up leaving the NFL because he wasn't in like the right mental headspace.
Oh, man. I'm sorry, Joe. I'm sorry. I didn't know that.
He ended up leaving. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I think he ended up going into the military for some, I forgot which branch or whatever.
Him and Glenn Coffey was with you guys in X-49ers joining the military.
Maybe I confused it with Glenn Coffey.
You're definitely confused. That was what Glenn Coffey did. Yeah. Joe Williams, damn. I'm sorry,
I remember, you wouldn't know this, but I remember when Coffey got drafted and he started performing well in the preseason or whatever, they're trying to come up with a nickname for both Frank Gore and Glenn Coffey. And probably the one that caught on the most was Franken Beans.
Oh, that's good. I actually like that. I was thinking like something like Gore and Coffee. I was like, how does that work? But no, Franken Beans.
Franken Beans. It was Franken Beans. But
man.
Yeah, obviously it didn't come to fruition that much there. But okay, yeah, nice trip down memory
also,
lane.
Well, hold on. We're not done yet. Notable running backs after that: Jamal Williams,
who just got released by the New Orleans Saints. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not. Wayne Gallman.
He had a brief flash there.
This one hurts. R.I.P. Well, he's still alive, but Marlon Mack.
Marlon Mack out of USF.
Marlon Mack. Not running back, but do you want to guess who the 49ers 5th round pick was that year?
Was that? No, George Kittle was 2018. Yeah. No. Yes, George Kittle was 2017 then, yeah.
You are correct. It was George Kittle.
2018 is when he broke out.
Last running back I'll bring up because it was a 6th round pick, a hell of a 6th round pick by the Packers. Aaron Jones was that year.
Jones was 6th round.
That's a hell of a 6th round pick. Yeah.
UTEP
what?
The Miners.
Damn it.
Yeah. I know that one specifically.
UTSA what?
Roadrunners.
Damn it.
I know the Miners specifically because one of their helmets is literally the pickaxe.
It's one of the best helmets.
It's the pickaxe.
I love the pickaxe helmet. But
yeah, that's a good one.
Anyway, free agent running backs, good loser.
Yeah, I think so. But guys, that'll close out our episode here, previewing the, not previewing, but it's like giving our recap analysis of the combine. Yeah, capping off the combine there. As we mentioned, free agency will be coming next week on March 12th. So yeah, that's when free agency will open. We'll get a lot of probably some preliminary deals before that, but it won't be official until March 12th. I don't know why it's already jumping.
Dear Lord, man.
During the month of March, we'll get a lot of pro days as well as the beginning of April. So we'll have you some updates there as well. We'll give you a lot more draft coverage as far as, our position rankings. We'll simulate some GM environments as far as what we think teams should do. But guys, there's a lot of things we'll be covering for you. Best way you can find out about all the stuff that's happening with the Side Guys Football Forum is make sure you're following us on our social media handles. You got us on Twitter. You got me at @OfTheSide23, 10 and 10 Side 94. Got the show handle at the Side Guys, and of course on Instagram at the Side Guys as well. Hit us up with all of your thoughts when it comes to the combine, when it comes to pro days, when it comes to free agency, who you want us to sort of talk about during our episodes and all that stuff. That's the best way you can interact with us. So make sure you guys are doing that on all our social media channels. Make sure you subscribe, release to your podcast, so you're always up to date with our podcast episodes, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, so you can watch us and see all the shenanigans that we're doing on our YouTube videos there. But guys,
I'm so sorry. Say that word again.
Shenanigans.
There you go.
Yeah. But guys, make sure you're also supporting our parent network at LAFB Network. They're giving a lot of great content when it comes to the Rams and the Chargers. As mentioned, free agency is right around the corner, so they'll give you a lot of previews and who they think they should sign for both those two teams, as well as college football with the Bruins and the Trojans with all the transfer portal stuff and spring games and what's on tap for the college football season, which will be starting in August. So it's like, that's going to be here before you know it. So, but Ted, no longer just football anymore. They got you covered with NBA action. So they got the Clippers and Lakers coverage for you there, as well as with the MLB season.
He said we would not bring up the Lakers on this show.
And also, we do have baseball happening in just a matter of a couple weeks as well. We got the Tokyo series happening on March 18th between the Dodgers and the Cubs in Japan. So, I mean, we'll have some regular season action for you guys. So they got you covered with Dodgers as well as Angels coverage as well on LAFB Network, guys. So make sure you're supporting them with all that content. Lots of great content coming from a lot of great content producers. But to everybody who's already supporting us by following us on social media, by interacting with us on social media, by watching our episodes, listening to the episodes, I mean, just anything and everything that you're doing to support the podcast, we really cannot thank you enough.
So I have a TV show recommendation for you. You ready?
Let's hear it.
Have you heard of Paradise on Hulu?
That is something I want to watch. I've seen trailers for it. It looks pretty good.
It is so good.
Okay.
It is so good.
All right.
The second to last episode before the finale. Oh my God. It's like one of the best. I was almost crying watching it. I was like, oh my God. Like, it is so good. I went home to visit my mother this past weekend. She was hooked. She was watching it while I fell asleep next to her.
Nice.
Like, that's how hooked she is. And I cannot wait to talk about it with someone. And you know who that someone is? It's a good friend of the show, Chauncey Talese at LA Podfidential. And I cannot wait until the next time we're on that show so I can discuss it with Chauncey, because there's no doubt that Chauncey has absolutely seen that entire show. So if you're like me, where you're like, all right, look, I like football, but I want, let's talk about other stuff as well. LA Podfidential is definitely the place to check it out. You can find it wherever you find this podcast, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever. You can find it right there, YouTube as well, actually. Yep. So you can actually find all that, right there with LA Podfidential as well. So be sure to check that out, because Chauncey's just doing amazing work over there. Yeah, I guess if you're a USC fan, check out Salute to Troy.
A good friend, Alro.
Well, you're a good friend, Alro. Yeah, he does good stuff, I guess. But anyway. But no, in all seriousness, check out Salute to Troy, especially if you're a USC fan and you're like, hey, how are all these USC guys going to do in the draft? Because notice how we did not name a single USC guy in this entire combine. If you're like, well, I want to know how the USC guys did in the combine, check out Salute to Troy, because I guess Al does a good job or whatever. And Al is also going to check on, be with us during our NFL draft live stream. And just, good God, I guess we're only 2 months away now.
A month.
A month away. So he will be definitely dropping in at that point. So check out Al's podcast, check out Chauncey's podcast, and keep checking out our podcast, because as Amir said, we have a lot of free agency stuff coming. We have way more draft stuff coming. And don't forget, our mock draft is coming out very, very soon. So keep tuning in for that. So as always, everyone, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And please stay safe, everyone.